Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be making a Call of Duty tier list. This tier list will consist of every single Call of Duty up until 2023 that has ever been released, save for a bunch of the side games that nobody probably ever really played like that. At least I didn't. But to start this list off, I'm just going to put all the CODs I actually never played. I never played COD 1, I never played COD 3, I think that is. I never played COD 2, and I never played whichever one this is. I never played any of these ones. I think this is Call of Duty Big Red 1 right here. I don't know what this one is. It's like another version of World at War. But I'm going to put all of these right here. These classic World War CODs, I really did not get a chance to play. I never actually got a chance to play Call of Duty Online before I think it got shut down or whatever. But with that out of the way, let's jump into the tier list. First, we've got Call of Duty Modern Warfare. You guys are going to hate me. I actually never got a chance to play that, unfortunately. We've got Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I did not play this in its prime, but I did play it. I've got a hot take. If it wasn't for the microtransactions, this game would be S tier. Actually, the cosmetics are kind of cool because they have very unique ones, like the all optic white skins for a lot of the pro player, like the optic players and stuff. They have like very specific skins. Okay, you know, microtransactions aside, they did actually make a very, very incredible and competitive Call of Duty that was also fun, at least in my opinion, on the pub side from what I got a chance to play. I actually like Advanced Warfare a lot, and I actually do think it deserves an S tier slot. I really hate microtransactions. I feel like they hurt a game a lot. If we're looking at this from like a pure gameplay perspective, then this game is 110% S tier. Same with Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 is arguably one of the greatest CODs of all time, tied at the top 2 slot for many, many people. Easily one of the most defining Call of Duties of all time, introducing a lot more to like the competitive side of Call of Duty, the content side of Call of Duty, the public match side, everything. Black Ops 2 basically defined a generation of content creators, competitive players, pub stompers, and a whole other just group of people. There was so much to do with this game, from zombies to just the overall multiplayer. The story was phenomenal. S tier Call of Duty, no debate. And if you think otherwise, you're insane. Black Ops 3, S tier COD. Now I say more. In my personal opinion, out of all the jetpack Call of Duties, this one had the best movement out of all of them. It was bright, it was colorful, the guns were fun to play with, and they looked really cool. The swath of DLC weapons that this game had was incredible. That is the one downside with this game, though. Their microtransactions for Black Ops 3, Activision's microtransactions for Black Ops 3 they're bad. Supply drops are never good in my personal opinion. I also don't think bundles and all that stuff isn't good either. I like being able to earn my guns. You had to gamble hard to really pull anything in this game. It was a pain in the ass, and that's generally the only downside to it. Otherwise, great zombies mode, phenomenal multiplayer. The campaign is a literal L for the most part, but it was fun on co-op, so I'll give it that. Even if it didn't make a whole lot of sense, it was still fun to mess around with friends and stuff. But I played this game a lot, probably more than any other Call of Duty to date. I loved every second of it. One of my my favorite Call of Duty of all time, personally. Black Ops 4. I feel like Black Ops 4 got a lot of unnecessary hate, but it did definitely feel like a rush product. I'm kind of tied between B and A. I didn't hate the game, but it wasn't like my S tier like Call of Duties. I don't know. It's a weird gray area, you know. Maybe I should have put like an A- here, but I actually did enjoy Black Ops 4 for the most part. I think I'll give it a B. Black Ops definitely helped carry a lot of the popularity, but I did think the multiplayer was a ton of fun. There was a lot of powerful stuff in here. We still had specialists from the old jetpack Call of Duty days. It's so clear this was supposed to be another jetpack Call of Duty, but it was a fun game. The Maddox is still to this day probably my favorite gun I've ever played within a Call of Duty, and I'll die on the hill. Cold War, I'm not gonna lie to you, you're gonna think I'm insane, but I actually like Cold War a lot. For a very rushed product, because Activision doesn't care about the health of its publishers, this game was really good, if we're being honest. The only issue I had was a lack of maps on launch, which is one of my biggest things when it comes to content in Call of Duty. I love having a variety of maps. It only had like 9 on launch, which was a little pathetic. It might kind of deserve a B slot for that. I like this game a lot personally. The skill base is also a huge issue. Actually, you know what? Yeah, we'll swap these. I feel like this is a little bit more reasonable. This is a little bit more reasonable. If the skill base wasn't just so absurdly cranked in this game, on top of the fact that it launched with so little to really do, you know, I think it would deserve more of an A tier slot. But I actually really enjoyed this game from start to finish. Honestly, there was never a dull moment in it for me, and I really did enjoy playing it like through and through. I never got off of this game during its life cycle. Black Ops 1, A tier COD, great campaign, great multiplayer, really, really good zombies in my opinion that kind of set the tone for future zombies content. And that's another thing, by the way, Black Ops 4. I forgot about the zombies in that. I think everybody forgot about the zombies in Black Ops 4. But either way, Black Ops 1, A tier COD, not my favorite in comparison to some of these other Call of Duties that I got up here, but definitely one of the best entries in the franchise, and just not even close. If you're gonna play Black Ops, you need to play basically where it all started from. I know Black Ops kind of started from World at War, or you know, the whole like Victor Reznov going in, like that whole era. It all started with Cold or World at War. I know, but Black Ops 1 really kind of defined the future of Call of Duty, at least in my personal opinion. But there were a lot of issues with the game, at least for me anyway. Hit reg, connection issues, the snipers absolutely were terrible, and I wasn't even a sniper back in that day. You know, I didn't play it as much as I played these other Call of Duties, unfortunately. If I maybe had a little bit more time with it, I probably would have loved it just about on the same level as these other games, but I don't think it's a bad game by any way, shape, or form. Easily an A tier Call of Duty, if not higher for some people. COD Ghosts, this is a weird one. I want to give it a B. I actually like Ghost. Hear me out. I actually thought the perk system was actually kind of fun, even though I'm more of a, you know, pick 10 kind of person. But I thought the perk system was fun. Like the Division Wars they used to do was actually insane, in my opinion. I remember just playing Division Wars with all my homies. Infection or whatever it was called with the aliens. So I guess they weren't aliens. They came from Earth. Was actually, in my personal opinion, more enjoyable than zombies. I had fun with, man, what the heck was it called? Do you guys remember it with the little aliens and stuff? They came out of the ground. This is also one of the this was the first Call of Duty to introduce slide canceling, or not slide canceling, but just sliding in general. And it was also one of the Call of Duties, or maybe the first Call of Duty, to introduce infinite sprinting without a perk like you needed in MW2. At least I think that's what the case was. This game is also, it has a big reputation for being a phenomenal search and destroy game, especially for the competitive scene, which I didn't know anything about at the time. But I give it a B. It wasn't my favorite Call of Duty, but I don't even remotely think it was like my like the worst Call of Duty of all time. Okay, Infinite Warfare is a weird one for me because on one hand, I actually kind of like the game. They introduced a lot of fun game modes with this one, like finger warfare, you know, where you had your fingers and they shot and you could do little cool animations and stuff with like emotes and whatnot. I like the futuristic Call of Duties a lot, so they are very high up on my list. Infinite Warfare didn't get as much playtime out of me as Black Ops 3 did, and I probably have more playtime on this, to be perfectly honest, than AW, for being realistic here, but I do think AW is the better game, so that's why I rated it as high as I did. I think it's a phenomenal game. Infinite Warfare is a weird one, because I really don't think it's a bad game, to be perfectly honest. I think it was just overhated, and it came out at a really weird time where people were just kind of sick of jetpack Call of Duties. I give it a C. I wasn't a fan of like the zombies and stuff. I didn't really play it that much, but the game itself, in my personal opinion, wasn't that bad. Now I'm a bit biased. I didn't play it immediately on launch. I was still on Black Ops 3 for a very long time. So I know a lot of people probably feel a little weird about this game because it launched kind of weird from what I understand anyway, but I didn't get a chance to really properly experience that. So my opinion is completely and utterly biased. And if you dislike this video, well, hey, Modern Warfare 2, trash, hated it, never want to play this game again, especially after playing MW3, which is literally just a completely refined version of MW2, which is kind of funny because that's kind of how it happened in the past before. But MW2 was actually a good game. This game could suck my balls. It was terrible. I hated it. I definitely made a lot of content on it because I just wanted to make the most out of it. But I've revisited old Call of Duties, even Vanguard. This game is not getting a revisit for me ever again. Like, literally, why would I play this when I can just play this? And it's better. It's literally basically the same game, but 20 times better. And it's still, and we still have some of the maps from this game in MW3. I have no reason to ever play MW2 again. Terrible game. MW, I'm gonna give it a D. I don't want to give it literal trash because I actually did enjoy this game when I played it with friends or when I played Warzone. But outside of that, I mean, the camel grind was just kind of lame. Like it was a weird camel grind. Damascus was an absolute letdown in my personal opinion. The only real redeeming factor of this game was like Obsidian, search and destroy, watching fugitives drop a nuke. That was actually really cool. Otherwise, Quarantine and Warzone saved this game from literally just being one of the shittiest games of all time. And I actually don't like this game a lot. I got all the camel stuff done for it because that's just what I like to do, but I'm good. I'm good. Not a fan of this game. If I don't put this in S tier, people are gonna just literally kill me. So that's the only reason I'm gonna put it right here. Like I didn't play this game fully in its prime. But the reason why I actually want to put it in S tier is because similar to Black Ops 1, it defined a generation. Content was at its all-time high with sniper montages and everything. FaZe was on the come up. Optic was already kind of there. It was already on the come up. This game basically defined a generation of Call of Duty content creators and inspired a lot of people to basically taste Call of Duty content. I think this game defined a generation. It was one of the funnest games to just watch and troll people in. I generally, even though I didn't get a chance to play it in its prime, I respect everything that the classic Modern Warfare 2 basically did for Call of Duty moving forward in terms of content, in terms of pub stomping, in terms of joining like an org back then, you know, and in terms of just overall creativity. This game defined a generation more than literally any Call of Duty on this list. It is not even close. Modern Warfare 3, y'all are gonna hate me. I love this game. I love it. The only problem I have is the skill base. But this is the first Call of Duty in probably like 6 years, even more than Cold War, that I've hopped on and I genuinely enjoy the hell out of it. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm a psychopath. You know, $70 DLC. Hey man, I don't know. We got more content in season 1 than we've got with pretty much any other previous modern era Call of Duty. You know, Cold War, Vanguard, MW. I'm probably missing something in there. MW2. This game's first season has so much shit to do in it because the season's still going on, and we've had like 5 events, 6 events since it launched. It's generally impressed me how much more of a fuck Sledgehammer give for basically a DLC version of the game that IW took like 3 years to make. It's ridiculous, and the fact that IW still have a say so on what kind of happens with this game pisses me off to no avail. But this game is significantly more enjoyable than literally anything I played since Black Ops 4. And I love Cold War with all my heart, I do. I would arguably rate those two kind of on the same scale, but I think MW3 has more content on launch. I'm not just talking about all the remade maps, but there were a lot of game modes kind of on launch for the most part. And then the gun variety is actually pretty cool. We've got the aftermarket part system, which in my opinion is one of the most creative ways to introduce new guns to the game without oversaturating the entire weapon pool. Overall, phenomenal game. I love it so far, and Sledgehammer have done a phenomenal job of addressing issues, disabling broken things in Warzone. Well, I know there's more on the Ravensoft side of things, but overall, the game has just been very, very well taken care of, in my personal opinion. The only real issue with this game is the spawns. Jesus Christ, the spawns are terrible. MW3, I don't know really where to put this because I didn't play it in its prime, and I don't want to say I never played it because I did play a little bit of it, but I think I played more of the story mode in this game. So I'm gonna put this kind of in the not played area because I didn't really play multiplayer on this game during its prime, but I do enjoy going back or like rewatching a lot of old school multiplayer content. I used to watch a lot of stuff on this game. You know, noob tubing people. I love watching people get noob tubed. I find that extremely enjoyable. It's a great game though, from what I understand. So I will not rank it without any proper understanding of, you know, what made the game the game. Like I said, the story mode is phenomenal. Literally S tier, one of my favorite campaigns of all time. Maybe if I rank it here, I'll rank this one special. Like I will rank it like A tier because of the campaign. That's the only thing I really got a chance to enjoy, but the campaign was phenomenal. Actually, I might give it S tier. That campaign was fucking amazing. I enjoyed it. I've replayed that campaign a dozen times. It was so good. Unfortunate that I didn't get a chance to play the multiplayer, but you know, it is what it is. Vanguard is such a weird one. Gotta get this one a D. I think I put this on the same scale as this one. I played it. I actually thought the movement and the gunplay was fun. The maps were actually pretty okay. The combat pacing was a really unique invention to the game, you know, allowing you to have either really large lobbies for camel grinding or really, you know, simple and straightforward lobbies. By the tail end of its life cycle, this game was literally dead. I had issues even finding lobbies. Everybody else was on Cold War or MW, which was riddled with hackers, by the way, which is crazy. I'd never ran into a single hacker on Vanguard because nobody played the fucking game. It's a meh game, extremely forgettable. Warzone 2.0. We're talking, you know, Warzone 2.0 with all of the new changes. I would give it a B because there's still a bunch of weird like anomalies with the game, like the TTK, the connection, etc. But if we're all right, let's do it like this. I will show you my rankings for this. Literal trash for regular Warzone 2.0. I'll give it a B for whatever the fuck they're doing now because it's actually really, really good in my personal opinion. Call of Duty Warzone S here. I don't care if you hate it for Dansk. I don't give a fuck. Like this shit was so much fun to play, and maybe that was because it was during quarantine. I don't really know. But the experience with Warzone 1 can never be recreated. It's just kind of like MW2. MW2 released during a time where there was like issues with the housing market. The world was just kind of in a weird state. Warzone kind of did the same damn thing pretty much. And it had its issues. It had its hackers. But just kind of like the classic MW2 where everything was broken so nothing was broken, it's kind of how I feel about Warzone. It had so many issues that I just straight up didn't give a fuck about because the game was so fun. It was so fun. There was never a dull moment I had with this game. I loved it. I wish I could recreate that era, honestly, and I probably would have focused more on content related to Warzone 1, but like it's an era that we can never recreate, just like we can't recreate the memories with all the other previous Call of Duties, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, you know, MW3 for some, AW, and so on. It defined yet again another generation of COD content, but the only issue that it did bring was the new generation of hackers. Damn, did this game bring hackers. Like, hackers have become a huge issue. Now, I'm not one of those guys that just hates on every content creator because I also make content. I don't think every streamer is a cheater. I don't care if you do. I really don't give a fuck about that opinion. But it definitely did bring in a new generation of people that love to cheat. And maybe cheating was just more prominent on PC games, and this was the first real PC game that I invested time into on the multiplayer side of things. You know, maybe hackers have been a huge issue for a long time and I wasn't aware. The amount of cheaters in this game were insane. But the first year of this game, man, amazing year. I miss the old MW guns. Like when they started doing like the integrations, Cold War wasn't so bad, but then they started adding on the World War II guns, and like that first year you could not recreate. It was really before people learned how to slide cancel and stuff. It was a little bit more chill. I think this game ultimately defined a new generation of sweats as well. I had never in my life ran into as many tryhards in the history of Call of Duty than I did with Warzone and even MW19, but more Warzone. This game defined a whole generation of sweats, cheaters, but it also kind of defined a generation of movement kids and kings, or whatever you want to call it, content. Like this game basically did what MW2 did, which was people are indoors playing the game, but there's a ton of content to make around it. Like there was so much content every single day. Every big YouTuber, streamer uploading every single day. So many careers were defined because of Warzone. It's basically just impossible to ignore what it did for the Call of Duty scene in terms of the player base, the content creation, so forth. Esther game, I miss it dearly. World at War, didn't play the multiplayer. I played zombies and I played the campaign a bunch. I'm gonna give it an A. I actually really enjoyed everything that kind of happened with it, but I wouldn't put its campaign above. Would I? It's a weird one. I don't have as much experience with this one, but I think it's a phenomenal game. I didn't replay it as much as I did like MW3's campaign, so maybe I'm a little bit more biased. I didn't play the multiplayer at all in this game, and to this day, it never really looked that interesting to me. I don't hate it. It just didn't, you know, twist my nipple, but I would give it an A tier at the most, or at the least. At the least, I would give it an A tier. Call of Duty World at War 2. This is a weird one, and I will say that strictly because of the fact that there are basically two versions of World War 2. Are we talking the like pre-patch World War 2 or post-patch World War 2? Let me just lay out what I mean by that. Before, like, when the game launched, it was terrible for the most part. It played weird, it was slow as shit. It just, the gunplay was actually not that bad. The perk system was just atrocious. It was a weird, horrible F-tier game on launch. Then when some of the heads of the game kind of left, I think it was like Michael Condrey or something, they did this like patch, like 4 or 5 months into the game's life cycle, that revamped the entire game, made the perk system significantly more bearable, introduced a swath of new maps. You could unlock weapons through earning in-game currency. You didn't even have to pay for variants. You could unlock them by literally playing the game, like blueprints for your guns and everything. They added a plethora of DLC weapons. I think this game had more DLC weapons than Black Ops 3, which is saying something, and Black Ops 4, because that one had a lot of DLC weapons too, and AW. But this game had a lot of content in it by the end of its life cycle. It had that fun little toy soldiers in the sandbox mode. The zombies, in my opinion, was actually enjoyable. I had fun on it. The guns were amazing, in my personal opinion. This is one of the first Call of Duties to also introduce fire shells, which they just have not let go to this day. We just had an update with MW3 where they introduced a flamethrower as an underbarrel attachment. It's not good, but damn, why do we like fire so much? Either way, I would give pre-patch World War II a D tier, but if we're talking post-patch, this game was fun as hell. Like genuinely fun as hell. I enjoyed it a lot. What can I say? It's also the year I really got into competitive Call of Duty too, and Team Caliber was like the best team in the game for a long time until we got second place at champs. Same thing happened at Black Ops 4, unfortunately. But I enjoy World War II post patch so freaking much. I kind of wish I finished the camo grind on it, but back then I didn't really try to camo grind on boots CODs. I was more of a jetpack like camo grinder. But either way, World War II pre-patch terrible, post patch fucking amazing. Loved it, actually. Okay, so I know this tier list is probably gonna raise some eyebrows and turn some heads and make you guys feel all disgusted and yucky on the inside, but it is, in my personal opinion, a very solid list. Let me know what you thought about this video in the comment section down below. What would be your tier list for Call of Duty? What are your top 5 Call of Duties of all time? I would like it if you watch this video to leave a comment down below talking about that. And hey, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video as well. And as always, guys, this has been Jay the Gamer. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.